at some point because he lives in Canada and his furnace is out. Those of you who are just joining our show in progress, this is Canadian Problems. Anyway, so this is the first session of 3 of I have the lovely Quickstart, which my friend Steve Siggety brought me back from Gen Con. And this is currently kickstarting. I think the Kickstarter will be over by the time we're done with all the sessions. This is a variation on 7th Sea, which I've run with Rich a few times before. There are some minor changes to the rules. And so I may get those wrong. I've tried to get them in our little 7th Sea sheet corrected, but we'll see. So 7th Sea Khitai is just as 7th Sea is a fantastic swashbuckling Renaissance Europe and beyond. Khitai is set in the same world, and it is a fantasy swashbuckling heroic version of Asia. So the 2 countries that we're going to be working with tonight are primarily Fuso. Fuso is the Japan analog. They have samurai. There are different clans that are overseen by shaman, but there's a rising power of more political figures and daimyo and shoguns throughout there. And then the other country we're going to be dealing with is the Han. Han is the Korean analog within this setting here. It is a country of brilliant scholarship and learning that kind of considers it superior to Shenzhou, the Chinese analog, but in fact is kind of a military second to it. So there's some tensions over that. And a couple of our characters are from Han and a couple are from Fuso. So we will go through that. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. So be aware that we are using the X card as our safety tool. I take it that everybody here is familiar with the X card. Okay.
Yes.
So for those of you at home, it is a system where if we hit problematic material in terms of subject matter or in terms of tone, things like that, you can X card either through the chat or by doing a physical signal. I may ask exactly where we're editing past. We use the X card because it's a decent tool, and also because we're running shorter sessions, we don't have as much room to do a more elaborate safety tool that will require some more decompression. So that's the reason that we're working with that one. Now, I do want to say this is a game about Asia, and there's always the problem of Orientalism and depicting foreign cultures badly. So I'm going to try not to exoticize here. I think Khitai's doing a really good job. They've clearly got a lot of consultants dealing with that material, so I'm hoping that will be good when the final product comes out. But be aware, my specialty is not in Asian studies and cultures, so I will mispronounce things badly, and they will be wrong, and I'm going to apologize for that right now. Same thing happened when I ran 7th Sea because I can't pronounce French words, so there we go. Everyone has chosen their pre-gens, and we're going to introduce them in just a second, go through. What I want to talk about is the basics of the system. So if you look at your characters, you will see that you have traits and skills. Traits are essentially your stats. Now, you may notice that you have different stats than other characters. Each character has a different set of traits. There are 7 possible traits. These are the 5 that are most important to your character. Consider those traits as approaches. So I'm doing this compassionately, or I'm doing this with honesty. It is very much a figurative, emotional approach to how you're doing the action. And then you'll associate that with a skill. So what that's going to give you is D10s. So whatever the action is, the thing you've chosen, your approach and your skill, and the game is very flexible about what you use and how you do things. You will roll that many D10s. So you'll roll those on the table, and then you're going to look at them, and you're going to pull them together to make 10. So you want to get sets that add up to 10 or more. And each set is called arrays. You may have dice left over. If you do, the GM can buy them off you. You may end up having to buy things for more than 10. So that's an issue. Usually the GM will buy 1 or 2 dice off of you, keeping in mind that will get you some hero points for each die I buy off of you, but it also gives me danger points to use for the bad guys, and that raises the general peril level. So that's a thing to keep in mind with this version of it. Now you can see, you can roll a whole bunch of mess of D10s and roll for your party. If you're using the 7th C roller, you can just put in the trait and the skill number. You hit roll. It'll show you your results. And then you can go over and hit calculate raises. And it'll tell you how many raises you will get out of that. I don't care which way you do it. That's all that matters. Now, when you go to roll, there are 2 things you must not forget. One is that if you describe your action and you do it in a cool way, you get an extra die. If you don't do that, you're leaving money on the table. So always say and describe kind of what you're doing. The other thing is, the first time in a scene you use a particular skill, like aim or like a brawl or whatever, you get an extra die for that. But the second time and third time, you don't get that extra die. So if the scene goes on for more than a couple of exchanges, then maybe on the second time you want to do something different. That way you can get that extra die. You will also note on your character sheet that there's this weird line of zeros and @ symbols down the right-hand side of your character. That's your wound boxes. When you hit the 5th wound box, that's what's called a dramatic wound. That's a bad thing. That's harder to heal. So essentially every 5th box is a dramatic wound. The good thing about that is that as you get more dramatic wounds, you get some bonuses. You'll see those there below the skill rank bonus listings. So first dramatic wound, you get a +1 die to all your risks. All your actions get extra die. Isn't that awesome? Get 2 dramatic wounds, then I get 2 bonus dice for the villain characters. But if you keep pushing past that, then once you get to that 3rd level, then all your D10s explode, meaning that anytime you roll a 10, you get to re-roll them and get another die. Get to get extra dice. So yeah, you obviously want to take a lot of damage. You're going to want to do that. You want to do that repeatedly. Take yourself to the brink of death. It'll be awesome for me. That's the basics. You also have some quirks and advantages. Advantages are your special abilities. Quirks are ways that you get hero points through play. Everyone will start with 1 hero point. And I think one character gets an extra hero point. Let me ask if you have any questions about your abilities now. We're going to figure this all out in play, but is there anything that you've seen that you're like, what is that? What is going on, Lowell? Rich, do you have any questions? You're an old hand at this, right?
I think I'm okay.
Okay, you're all good. What about you, Matt?
I guess one thing,
Sure.
or you might go through hero point stuff at some point, but as far as I noticed the one that just says failure, and you can just declare a failure to gain a hero point. So that's if you were going to take an approach, you would kind of just replace that with a failure. Or
at the start of a round, if people are doing things, you can go, nope, I just fail. I don't do anything. I'll take a hero point. It's a terrible choice. It's not a good choice. Anything else on that?
I don't think so. I went through the quick start stuff. It all seems pretty, yeah.
Okay, Jesse, anything?
Nothing specific at this point. Yeah, yeah. Don't know enough about it to know what I don't know yet, but we'll go. We'll see what we got.
Brilliance of this, and finally, Fraser.
Yeah, same as Jesse, I think.
Perfect. That's what I want to hear. That sort of dangerous ignorance. It's great. So what I'd like to have you do is introduce your characters, who they are, what your spin on them is, and then we're going to get started. We're going to set things up. You are people who have adventured together. One of the things that's sort of different about 7th Sea Khitai is in the sort of European 7th Sea, there's this whole push to being a hero, to doing right. That is sort of the driving force for characters here. Here in 7th Sea Khitai, it's the call to adventure that characters feel the need to go out and do things and see the world and explore. That's what drives heroes in this world. And you four have traveled together before. You know each other. You've fought together. You have experience with each other's quirks and flaws and all of that. So, Rich, I'm going to start with you because we're going to work this way. If I could have you tell me about Ishikawa Katsuo.
Sure. Ishikawa Katsuo is a samurai. He's older. He'll be played by digitized Toshiro Mifune in my version of this Khitai movie we're making. He has seen war, pain, and suffering. He's inflicted a great deal of it over the years, but he's tried to put an end to all of it. And he is a very skilled and powerful samurai, but now he chooses, if in any way, the way of peace to solve a problem. And the edge of his katana is used only if there is no other way. He's weary. He's cranky. He's proud and does not like to accept the help of others. But he's not a bad guy to have around.
Do you suppose that as a samurai, you've been essentially sort of given a retirement ceremony, allowed to move on and adventure from the person who oversees you, or has your master passed on and now you have the freedom to do this? How do you imagine that?
Master passed on. His youngest son is no more, and the daughter was married to another family.
Still have the family line, but some of those ties are cut. Sounds good to me. Let's talk then with it is are you doing Zahn?
Yes. Or sorry, I've got Zahn. Sorry.
Okay, so Jesse, tell us about Zahn.
Alrighty. So for Zahn, information is power. This is a this is almost kind of like the little finger, or just someone behind the scenes pulling strings, and grew up and started out in Shenzhou, and was working for a powerful family there. Kind of just gathering dirt information, really just trades in information, I think, and isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, but does so in a kind of a refined way. I think he's not skulking in the streets or anything like that, but he's not averse to picking a pocket for something important, or for sneaking in and out of somewhere if there's useful information or anything to be gathered. I think things didn't go well in Shenzhou. I was actually kind of part of the pre-gen. I think that I may have, in one play against another family, to try and just dealing with politics there, I think I might have showed my hand a little too quickly once, and it ended up coming back to bite me. It kind of disgraced the family I was working for, and I kind of had to flee, just in disgrace. And so I've now set up shop in Fuso, where I'm working for a daimyo, and trying to not repeat that mistake again. So got a network of maybe beggars and probably like street vendors, stuff like that I may have on my payroll, just kind of keeping an eye out for things. But again, I'm not opposed to also doing the work myself.
So, do you imagine that he dresses down a little? Is he dressed fancy or a little more ordinarily? How do you picture that?
So I would picture kind of like my idea is kind of more mid-range, but definitely every piece of clothing is clean and neatly, he's very conscious about how he presents, but isn't ostentatious about it. So it may not be the most valuable stuff he's wearing, but it's worn well and it's obviously taken care of. So yeah, put together, refined, dignity is a big issue for him.
Awesome. Next, let's talk with Naoko, our twice orphaned warrior monk. And I believe that's Fraser, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
So their home was destroyed by bandits. They're their hubris is being hot-headed. Their virtue is being insightful. So I get knowledge on villains' ranks and advantages. And let's see. Yeah, it says the only thing the violent respect is pain. So that's kind of why I chose this character that was speaking to me at the time. And it says I solve my problems with rash action, and I'm ruled by emotion and tragedy. And I'm on a personal crusade for justice against anyone who would hurt others. And
you are the unarmed martial arts expert of the group, right?
Yep. And I got 2 hero points.
Oh, that's right. Where do you imagine you learned? Did you learn at a school or monastery or from your family or a lone master?
I think a monastery.
Why aren't you at the monastery anymore?
Maybe that's where the bandits attacked.
Okay.
And then they razed it. And that was the second home that was taken from me.
Okay. That makes sense. That is perfect for me. Naoko, male or female or ambiguous?
The sheet says male, so I'll stick with that.
Okay. All right. Lastly, let's come to Ishikawa. Sorry, I'm going to mess up names. Akiyama Chihiro.
Akiyama, yeah. So Akiyama is the heir to a powerful clan from Fuso. Fuso is known for its military strength and domination, but they have a lot of leadership struggles. But they have many powerful samurai, so she prides herself on her identity and her role in her clan. She is bold and headstrong and self-assured. She's very confident in her authority, and she uses her family ties as sort of leverage. She's very proud of her heritage. She's intelligent and noble, but she's a little bit stubborn and slow to kind of open up to new ideas. She doesn't like having her preconceived notions challenged, so she's very firm in her beliefs and in the wisdom that she gains from the kamui, which are the spirits of this world. Akiyama is a Kanushi, who is a priest of Kamuiru, who is able to kind of communicate with these spirits. And she, her job is kind of to maintain good relations with them, make them happy when they grow angry or dissatisfied. The mysticism in the world of Khitai is kind of that there are these spirits, these kamui, in everything, in the sun, the sky, the earth, trees, rivers, storms. And it's sort of their job to uphold their relationship with the spirits. And purity is a big thing as well. So if people take actions that would make them unclean, she would perform a ritual or require them to perform a ritual to sort of cleanse their spirit a little bit. And then there's a few other things there too. And she has a bear companion.
That is the point I wanted
Koinu.
to sell. So tell me, how do you picture this bear?
How do you not lead with she has a bear companion? That's my
You're so right. You're so right. Mistakes were made.
How big? What color? What does the bear look like?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'm imagining that she came from some wealth, and as the heir to a clan, and I imagine that this bear is sort of a fairly young, bold and brash, sort of like she is. Her name is Koinu, but she's large for her young age, very strong. She sort of has she's got a little bit of armor. She kind of wears like a almost like a not a saddle, because she doesn't ride the bear, but she's decked out. There's some kind of like things for her to carry stuff as well. I'm imagining like purple drapery and stuff like that, maybe some spiritual ornamentation. I think Koinu is involved with some of the rituals. I'll think on it a little more, but yeah, and probably dark coloring, near black, dark brown.
And so, do you suppose that it is common and accepted for Kamui to have such animal companions with them, or is it still a pretty striking thing when you arrive at a village?
I think it's common for them to have companions, but maybe not so much a bear. So the way that Kamuiru, this sort of belief system here, perceives animals is that they all have the spirits inside of them. But instead of having just a single element, they have a balance of all 5 elements: air, water, earth, fire, and void. And so bears would have a lot of like an earth element. And I think in that way, people might see it as a reassuring sort of creature to have as a Kanushi.
Perfect, as opposed to nature's perfect killer. Good. All right. So you 4 have been on the road for some months. You have heard the song of the world. It's called you out to travel. You go sometimes incognito, sometimes public, travel out, you have adventures. Naoko, what was the last striking place that you 4 visited?
Maybe a palace.
Oh, okay. Like you were at here in Fuso, like one of the clan holdings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there are several in the mountains. I would say that where we end up here, your lands are to the north. There are several other clans around here. What was striking about this palace?
I think it was the most ornate thing that we ever saw.
Impractically ornate?
Yeah, impractically. Like when I visited Korea, it was kind of funny because I thought the palaces were really cool and ornate and interesting and stuff. But my brother's wife now was saying that the palaces in Korea are like the bathrooms of the ones in China.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of the Chinese ones, I guess, where they're like huge and opulent and
like one of the leaders of one of these clans has seen these things and has decided to make one here, and has devoted their wealth to creating this ornate palace. So let me ask then, Zahn, what was it that you 4 did at the palace?
Let's see. I think I specifically probably spent a little bit of time maybe paying off a couple of like mid-level assistants or something like that, just to be able to have some sources there. But I don't think that was our primary goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were probably I think we may have been asked. I think it may have been more of a political, like, hey, go and deliver this thing, which I don't think we knew what it was. I think we had a box that we had to deliver, some type of package that we were asked to deliver here, and it might not have gone over so well when it was opened, but I don't think we even know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Akiyama, how did you aid in getting the group out of the palace and on the road without more problems occurring because something had clearly gone wrong there when this item was opened.
Right. So I believe that we were suspected of being involved in whatever message was delivered with this box, or they were extremely offended, and we were being ushered to leave. And I think that I called on a powerful earth kamoy, let's say a spirit of a mountain, to sort of mediate a ritual sort of between us, and sort of made it created an opportunity to have a very calm and temperate environment to have a discussion and explain sort of like our pure intentions. And then I think I also might have made for them a shintai, which is basically I may have bound a spirit into a talisman for them to sort of bring luck and good fortune to the palace in the future, maybe a bounty.
So things went bad, but then you stepped in and did the hard work to get things calmed down, and you were able to leave this ornate palace of this daimyo who has been spending all of his wealth on it. You're able to head out on the road. Ishikawa, you've been on the road for a while. In the journey the past few days, what has been the sort of biggest obstacle that you and your companions have faced in that journey?
So I don't know Khitai magic level. Are there inhuman creatures, magical creatures?
Goblins, okay. Oni, Bacchanal.
Yeah, Bakemono. I was thinking that perhaps we recently traveled through a small forest and were set upon by a Bakemono who attempted to steal our belongings as we slept. And I'd also like to say that I think that Naoko was the person who's supposed to be watching.
And the the goblins, depending on what they do, they make themselves super flat and kind of move along the ground so that you just have to kind of see them at an angle. But of course, their brightly colored skin sometimes gives them away. But you would have shooed them away. All it takes is a couple of cut off fingers and a good douse of fire, and they will take off, realizing that this is not the place to steal and scavenge.
Plus, their fingers grow back.
Yes, so absolutely.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
That's what you tell yourself. So that after coming through those woods, you started to hit some landmarks that you recognize. This is an area you kind of move off the roads, while the roads are well recorded by the imperial census, that the emperor, that there's some declaration by the Mikado and the shogun. These are what the roads are. Those don't necessarily line up with how the roads actually are. So maps tend to be off quite a bit. But you've noticed here some landmarks and things that tell you the region that you're in. And you will remember that you four came through here a couple of years ago, and you stopped at a monastery here that was very pleasant, had a lovely shrine, and that is an excellent place for you to stop off. It's not far away from some of the other more landed castles and so on. And so you are heading that way. You figure you can finally get, again, a roof over your heads and some hot food. You've been traveling along like that, moving and kind of broken through some woods. hit upon a road. You're heading down that, and you will hear very faint in the distance. You will hear, "Hello, hello, hello. Is anyone still alive? Hello, is anyone still alive?" And as you're hearing that, the waft, as the wind sort of turns and will carry the smell of smoke towards you, and not of fire smoke. It's the smell that Naoko will recognize very well of buildings burning. So what do you want to do?
Well, I think I would get incensed by that and run dramatically and fast towards that.
Okay. So Naoko takes off. I assume the three of you follow.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Naoko runs out first, and the three of us maybe share a look, like knowing of Naoko's history, sort of, and then like all of us immediately like turn to dash and follow because we know she's about to get into, or sorry, he, right? Yeah, he's about to get into some trouble.
Not a problem. And the kind of catch up, your bear coming lumbering behind you. Naoko, you break through the tree line and come out, and you'll get hit by that wall of smoke and a little bit of that acrid burning that you get when it's still that hot air. You'll see some of the sparks still in the sky. You can see the monastery. It's shambles. The buildings have fallen. Some of them are still smoldering, so you're still getting that ash up into the sky and flames in a few places. But it's the fire has come and gone, and this is the aftermath. And you will see a person at the gate, the arch gate, which is still intact, that is standing there. Very simple green traveler's clothes. Has a jit in their belt and like a magistrate's badge hung, essentially the small plaque that they've got, and they're kind of moving forward and looking and trying to figure out what is going on. What do you want to do now? I'm going to come around and check with everybody. What do you want to do?
So this person's like trying to figure out what's happening as well, or they're spotting for somebody?
Looks to you is that they're moving up towards the building and shouting like they've arrived not too long ago, and they're trying to figure out how to best intercede.
Okay. If they're not having much luck, I would try to do the same thing. I think I have a thing where I can. Oh, that's against bad people.
Okay.
I would try to like survey the situation as well and see if there's any people that need my help immediately, just like the other person's doing, I guess, but probably somewhere else if they're already handling that spot.
Okay. So the three of you will come up. You will see this burning building. You'll see Naoko start in. So what we're going to do is, this is a dramatic scene.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to pick a trait, which is sort of just describing their approach, and a skill. If your intent is, say, looking for clues, you do hide, look for notice. Maybe if you want to be trying to rescue people, it might be athletics. Basically, you can describe your methodology for what you want to do. And essentially, when you do that, there are opportunities that you can spend those raises on, actions that you can spend them on, things that you can do sort of in this scene. And we kind of play that out, spending those. There's no initiative system in it. So, Naoko, what do you think is going to be your approach and skill here?
I think compassion and notice.
Okay, absolutely. So that's going to get you 5 dice. You've kind of described to me how you want to go. You kind of stay, magistrate has seen some things. You're going in to look. So that's 1 die for description. And it's the first time you've used notice in the scene, so you get another die for that. Look, that's 2 extra dice. Free. Okay?
Nice.
So you'll be rolling 8 dice, and then you'll be counting up sets of 10. What about Zahn? What's Zahn's approach here?
Okay, I think it's I would say the approach is peace, kind of coming in with calmness and just trying to, with a sense of trying to help here.
Mhm.
And I think skill, I'm actually kind of torn on this, just trying to figure out what fits the most. High doesn't really work in this option. I'm actually thinking it's going to be empathy. I'll be dealing with, hopefully, kind of dealing with people and maybe directing
Okay.
some efforts here.
Certainly, this is a stranger here. You don't know what they're about. That's certainly your area. So you've described yourself as coming in with empathy. You kind of get a sense of that. That makes sense to me. Give yourself those 2 extra dice.
Okay.
What about you, Akiyama?
I believe. Well, I'm wondering here because the fire. So is it just the single building that's burning? Is it just a lone monastery?
So it's a monastery with several buildings. They've all clearly been burnt. They've collapsed. It's smoldering. There are a few spots where there's some fire still burning, but it's clearly the building has been burnt out.
Okay, and there are no. Is this a village or is this just the monastery in this area?
Just the monastery, and the only person you're seeing right now is this magistrate person. Okay,
well, Akiyama is certainly bold and headstrong, and I think she does. While she can be a little bit, stubborn and prudish, I think she does care for Naoko and respect the past that she has come from, and she doesn't want her to get headstrong and get into any trouble. So she wants to, I think, rush after her, and I don't know. I kind of want to follow her lead in this situation. Although one thing I could also do is if it's possible to sort of commune with this fire kemoi, the spirit that's inhabiting these flames. I don't know how much of an immediate thing that is, but maybe I could do that and sort of find out if someone caused this, if there is, a conflict here, or maybe specifically locate a source in the building where we could head.
Perfect. You can roll mysticism then. I like the description of that. That sounds great. Give yourself that extra dice. What about you, Ishikawa?
So I'm clear. Naoko has run off to try to save people.
And it looks like Akiyama's kind of following up behind.
Yeah, following, but also communing with spirits. And what is it that Zan is doing?
I'm going to talk to the magistrate to start with to kind of try to ferret out what's happening here.
We don't currently see anyone in danger, so I'm attending Zan.
Okay.
So I'll be walking from behind Zan, but if we do see that there are people who are in trouble, then I'll try to help out either Naoko, who is physically all trying to interact, or if there's anything I could do for Akiyama, though that bear bothers me because it smells weird. But
so you're over here with Zahn, kind of observing. Do you think that's empathy or warfare for kind of sizing up the situation? What do you think?
I think warfare, sizing up the situation at this point. And
okay. And what trait with that?
Wise. I'm going with wisdom.
Okay.
So the wise tact is to understand the situation.
Makes sense. All right. So everybody, roll your d10s. And figure out how many raises you have.
I have 4 raises, it says.
Okay. Does that give you, do you have any extra dice left over after that?
It doesn't really tell me that, does it?
It'll, if there's any dice that aren't in a set, it'll tell you. So probably make the sets up. Okay. So Akiyama 4. And what about Zahn?
3.
3. Okay.
No leftover dice.
No leftover dice. Okay. And Akiyama.
I've got 3 and no leftovers.
Okay. Look at that. And finally, Ishikawa.
2 raises, and yes, I have a die left over. Would you like to buy it from me?
I will gladly start the peril track up. Okay.
Hey, Lloyd.
Oh,
Sorry, Lowell.
That's okay. Common mistake.
So I know there's not really an initiative order happening, and I know that one of the things you can do with your raises is create a new opportunity for another hero to benefit from. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if it's possible to, spend 1 to succeed at my intended action of communicating with this fire spirit, and maybe create an opportunity for Naoko to, kind of guide her in how she should approach the burning building, because I know she's going in, but I'd rather give her some information if I could.
Oh, that sounds great, actually. So spend a raise, and then let me jump to Naoko. You will, Akiyama. What does it look like when you commune with the spirits, Akiyama?
So I think that I'm just trying to remember. It doesn't actually say what I wield or anything like that. Okay. I think that in this case, normally I would take my time and probably kneel and respectfully commune. But in this case, because fire spirits are they represent energy and movement, and they're very impatient and stuff like that. I think I'm sort of it's a lot of like frantic movement, and it's kind of I almost like weave a dance into it. So I'm running towards the building, but I'm kind of loping gracefully and sort of moving my body in a way that sort of speaks to the spirit. I'm speaking through my movement.
Naoko, you see Akiyama moving up as that's going on, and as she does that, you will see up ahead of you some of the flames will kind of leap and dance and kind of spin around in a spot. You can spend a raise to activate an opportunity if you'd like.
I activate it.
Okay. So you will move over, and you will see that it looks like there's, in the debris sort of buried underneath, pretty well hidden, it looks like there's a trap door there.
I fling it open.
Okay. So it's going to take a raise to pull it open. And you've got some hot coals and things here. You can just take the wounds, or if you want to spend a raise, you can avoid the damage.
Let me see here. Do I have anything that helps me with that? Nope, looks like I'm pretty attacky. Okay, I'll spend that then.
Okay, spend that, and you will avoid as the coals come past you. Let's cut to Zan Ishikawa. You're close by. This person turns to you, and they will. Let me. I will grab a picture for them, which I'll drop in the second thing here. Let me go. Grab it real quick. A good GM would have had that ready.
You're a good GM, Lowell.
Well,
they're all good dogs, Brent.
A good furnace repair person would have been here by now.
Yes. So I've dropped that on the clues and stuff page. When you get close to this person, you see her kind of take off. She's got like a ceremonial mask. You can see that she's got the traveler's clothes, but also has the samurai armor. And she looks at you and she's like, "Did you see what happened?"
Just say, no, we heard cries from the distance, came to investigate and help. Do you have any idea what's going on here?
I don't know. She says, I was sent here by the local senior magistrate. Said that there were problems here, and when I arrived, this is what I found. And we'll come back to you in just a second. Ishikawa, what about for your raise?
Yeah, I was just looking through trying to figure out what I could do here.
One of the easy things to do with this is so what we just did with Zahn was spending a raise to kind of do an exchange and get some information. You can essentially spend a raise to kind of do a thing, to, looking around, asking a question, looking for other survivors, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you said that this, the way I ascertained the description was that this fire has gone on for a bit, that a great deal of the monastery is consumed. I would be interested in observing to see what kind of fire this was, if I could find out where it came from.
All right. So your first question is what kind of fire it was. So you'll start moving around the outskirts, and you know that there were about 10 monks in the monastery. You don't see any of them out here. And you're looking at the sort of the way the flames spread, and it looks like this was very deliberately set. That someone likely drove the monks back in as they set this fire. And it would have taken a decent number of people. Does that seem like a good answer?
Yes, just the follow-up question. Have
Sure.
we seen monks? You said
No.
there were 10 monks, so we haven't seen 10 monks. Okay.
Haven't seen 10 monks.
That's good.
So essentially that's the information you get on the raise. We come back to Akiyama. You've done that. You've pulled out the flames to reveal this location. What do you want to do next?
So if I can sort of assume that the fire kamui would be guiding us to, a location of some importance, I imagine that I would act on that, and I would try and. So you said that I'm sorry, Naoko made it into the building, avoiding collapsing coals.
Yeah, essentially she pulled open the trap door, and there's of course rubble and stuff around her that's still burning, like wood has that nice orange globe coals around. Pulls it open, avoids a landslide of those, and is heading down into this trap door area.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I just want to make sure the trap door is inside the monastery. And
yeah. Looks like it was a trap door like hidden away inside the monastery.
And it's first floor and it leads downwards.
Yeah, it looks like into some sort of basement.
Okay. Then I think I would like to I want to sort of. So I guess what I was intending with the spirit, I wanted to I know Naoko is running into this place in search of survivors, right? In order to rescue people who because of her his history. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask Koinu or get Koinu to help me sort of clear a safe path, right? If this building is collapsing, I want to use Koinu's strength to sort of make sure that there's a way to get out. So I want to keep the area clear of rubble and stuff.
Absolutely. So you can spend a raise to do that. And yeah, it does look like a lot of the building had come down, and it's a good thing you pushed that away because it does look like it could have actually fallen down, burned down, and fallen down into that hidden chamber below, and probably killed Naoko and anyone who was in there. I keep doing that. Naoko, what you drop down into this chamber, and you will see there is a monk prostrate on the ground. It's kind of a formal room, like it's very clearly like a sort of hidden away shrine room, and you can see that there is a dais and what you'll recognize as a sword holder, a black sword holder that is empty on top of the
just
dais.
rang the doorbell.
Dun, dun,
Get
dun.
away.
So we'll come back on that point in just a moment. Zahn, we cut back to you. The magistrate here will introduce herself as, let me get her name correct here, as Suzu. And she will say, I was sent here by Horio-san, the head magistrate for the area. Who are you?
See, I guess we have to decide that, huh? Like, are we? Do we do just a lot of traveling? Is this what we do? We kind of are going around adventuring right now. Is that
Yes,
kind of our deal?
freelance adventurers.
Yeah. So I think I just say we're a group of people traveling, helping locals, and trying to make these areas better and safer. And do I get the sense that this person has been to this location before, this monastery area, or not?
No, you're speaking with her, and she's very earnest.
Okay.
Very serious. But she also has that, what you will pick up as that air of somebody who is like a newly minted magistrate.
Okay.
Like doesn't know the area, and is very confused, but is trying to be attentive and helpful at the same time. And I will say, with your raise, if you spend a raise, you can tell that that's pretty genuine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not putting up a front for that.
Okay, but that costs a raise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially to ascertain, I think a good read there.
Okay, makes sense.
Ishikawa, what about you?
Sorry for the pregnant pause. I had problems clicking the unmute button.
Just adding tension. It's all good.
I know, right? It's sad because it's not going to be worth the payoff. I'm a little lost because I'm terrible with mysteries. I thought we'd be hitting people with swords. Let's see.
Give me time.
Okay. We have Zen speaking with the magistrate, and that's what I'm near. So I'm going to investigate, try to find out what has happened to the monks.
All right. So you're an old hand at reading a battlefield. So what does it look like when you're out, when you're like checking for the signs and things like that?
Ishikawa is not one for ceremony when it comes to actually doing the work. There's a great deal of ceremony to sword fighting, jitsu, and the like, but understanding a battlefield is just a thing you do. So he bends over at the waist. It's a small creak in his back there, I would assume, and he grunts a bit as he moves along the trail and moves with surprising nimbleness. He's got those sandals that have the two wooden blocks, right? They look incredibly uncomfortable, but he moves pretty gracefully on that as he scans the ground, and that's where he will try to figure out where were the footsteps. They were driven back. We will find them.
And in a movie, we would see you picking up things and touching things, and then we'd see a flashback to the attack. We'd see
we have like a sepia filter, so we know that it's some kind of good.
Absolutely. And so we would see 24 trained attackers, because the monks here knew how to fight, setting on the building, and they're firing the flaming arrows onto the roof, and they're throwing torches. And as the monks come out, they're beating them back. And I mean, it's a big group. I mean, and the monks weren't helpless. And it looks like they drove back the monks back into the building. And then this group headed back off into the woods. It looks like a carefully coordinated attack. This was not some simple bandit assault. This was something more cunning and bloody.
Do I feel that if I look inside one of those smaller buildings that I'll find the monks? Is that what I ascertain?
Yes, you think that the monks' bodies are probably inside those burning buildings.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Absolutely. So Naoko, a person on the ground, lying there. It looks like one of the monks' scorch marks burn. If it's a movie, it's the carefully smeared face to show that they've been in a fire in this fancy room. Do you want to get them out of here, or do you want to check the room?
No, yeah, I think my first priority would be them. So
okay, spend a raise, and you can get them up, out to safety. You'll see where Akiyama has kind of cleared the area and made it safe for you, and you'll get this monk outside.
Great.
I think I frantically say, like, Naoko, are there more? Do we need Koinu to bring more bodies out? Is it just the one monk?
From what I saw, it was, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I didn't really do a thorough look, so maybe I'll go back in.
Okay. So Naoko has brought this person out. What do you want to do, Akiyama?
So at this point, you said the building has been burning for a long time. Is it starting to, and we've sort of like cleared a safe passageway from the trap door.
Mm-hmm. You will probably, in doing that, have seen some bodies of the monks, burnt bodies of them.
I think eventually, after like the danger has passed of the building potentially falling on Naoko and the monk that she was escorting out, I would like to actually formally commune with the spirit in order to gain more information. But if there's still kind of like action happening, I think I still do want to make sure that nobody is left in the building. I don't know if I would do this through mysticism or like if.
Do you have some raises left?
I have one raise left.
Okay. If you want to spend that, I will activate one of the on-site opportunities for a thing that you can spot. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Maybe I still have sort of the communion active with the fire, and I sort of like, do a little, move, kind of like pirouette sort of, and ask it to like show me, whatever this opportunity might be.
So you will be moving around, and you're looking for unusual things here, and the kind of that sense, that spirit, the things that are sort of out of place. And the flames are helping you and guiding you, but you will find sort of outside, away from this, is a scrap of cloth, and it seems to have an insignia on it. And it's the insignia of Matabe Katagane. He is the samurai, and he's the lord of Manabe Castle, which is nearby.
Okay, so I find cloth from Matabe Katagane, a samurai lord nearby. And yeah, I think I we just see me pick it up off the ground and look over and see, I can see that I'm sorry, Ishikawa is kind of examining the signs of a battle, and I kind of make the connection in my mind, and I frown at the cloth, and I put it in my pocket, and I walk over him to kind of like report what I found, sort of.
Okay.
As the fire like sort of crumbles behind me.
I'm going to do Ishikawa, and I'm going to come to Zan. Ishikawa, when Akiyama, she brings this scrap of cloth to you, and you're looking at it, and in your walking around, you probably found at least one body of these attackers. The kind of clothing, and again, confirming your suspicions, their weapons definitely samurai weapons, not those of a peasant or bandit. But the clothing that they're wearing does not match this cloth.
Interesting. It seems that a group of samurai trapped the monks inside and burned them alive, but this does not match, unless there were several groups. How fine is this fabric? Is this something that a monk would wear?
No, definitely samurai cloth.
I know the kind of colors that they usually wear, right? So it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, no. I say, having sort of a heritage of nobility, I say, this is fine cloth, not something that any monk could afford. With the shifting alliances in this area lately, I would not be surprised if this attack was a union of two forces, if there are multiple parties responsible or at least involved in this act.
And let me cut to Zan. Suzu has been walking with you. You've come talking with her as she's looking. She's not got the sharpest eye for investigation. Mm-hmm. So there are several times where she goes, well, obviously, the monks were taken by surprise. And you're like, well, no, it looks like they actually came out to fight. Oh, yes, of course. And she's clearly trying to kind of keep up with you guys. And she will look to your guidance now that you have this monk out, and the evidence that you found there. I'm going to let you take the lead. I think we're kind of out of the dramatic raise spending section. How do you want to play this, Zan? You're the social person of the group.
Yeah, I think at this point I need to do a little bit of fact finding on why they're there, and like it mentioned, Suzu mentioned that they were there to handle some problems in the area, and I kind of want to ascertain if those are related to this potential attack or not. So I'm going to be asking questions about, hey, so why were you sent here? Does it seem to have any relation to these attacks? Basically, what do you know?
She will say, I was sent here by Head Magistrate Horio-san. He said that something terrible had befallen the monastery here, and he wished me to investigate. And I set out on the road, and when I arrived, it was as you see.
And do I buy that? Do I feel like I'm getting straight information from this person?
She is. Yeah. You're pretty certain she kind of doesn't have it in her to lie successfully to you.
Okay.
Is Horio a local lord or something? Do we know of him or her?
Horio is a magistrate, like the head magistrate for the area. It's kind of a lord. It's a political position with some power, but it's more important about sort of enforcing the laws and so on. Oversees the magistrates like Suzu here.
I might pipe in and say, it seems unlikely that Horio-san would have the foresight to predict such an what seems like an abrupt attack. What sort of details of the happenings did he report to you? Is there a conflict in the area that we should know about?
There's this pregnant pause. Horio-san merely said that something desperate had befallen the monastery, and that I should set out as soon as possible.
How long was your journey?
Perhaps 3 hours.
And I just kind of give her an appraising look. I don't know. She does seem genuine. I totally get that, but I think Akiyama is a little bit of a hard ass in this case, and kind of just stares her down like she doesn't believe her.
Okay. She's not quite at the level of nobility that you are, so she's probably matches your eyes for a while before they kind of drop down, and she looks away. What about you, Naoko? You kind of checked around. It doesn't look like there are any other survivors here amongst the rubble. What do you do?
So I went into that bigger room already and checked.
Yeah, you would have looked downstairs, checked around, walked around the perimeter, and seen that of the monks, this one in this chamber seems to have been the only one who survived.
Maybe try to help that monk then.
Okay. So do you think that Naoko has some skill with medicine?
I don't know. Seems unlikely. Nothing on this would.
So just kind of describe to me how Naoko, in her gruff way, takes care of this monk.
Well, maybe she knows how to specifically deal with this just from being at the monastery when this similar thing happens. So maybe she like turns them and makes sure that their like passageway for air is clear, and they're, coughing up anything that they need to and stuff like that. I assume it looks like it's tending to like a drowning victim or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. Essentially, you need to get that air because the heat would have closed up their throat. They'll do that long hacking cough. And when he finally does speak, it's that kind of raspy, just kind of forcing the words through like it hurts when he speaks, but he's, thank you. You are, it kind of narrows. He's got probably one eye has been burnt a little by the cinders, but he'll look, you were here before.
Was I?
Some years ago, weren't you? You passed through.
Yes.
Are there other survivors?
None that we have found yet. Can you tell us what happened?
And you group will kind of gather around as he speaks. He said, "It was very strange. Last night, in the early hours, a beggar woman came to the monastery. She spoke with the head, the abbot, and he was upset about her visit. And after she had left, he came to speak with us, but before we could press on to have him explain himself, these figures came out of the woods. 24 men in the clothing that you see and the masks, and they attacked. And they took things. They were here for something.
They robbed you?
And he looks like now he's actually hesitating to speak. He looks around at the five of you, clearly is uncertain if he should say.
Is he looking at someone in particular, like out of fear or something, or?
No, probably the person who's looking at it probably looks at Ishikawa, who's sort of the most martial and senior person looking here. Kind of looks at you, Ishikawa.
We need to know what has been taken from the monastery so we can retrieve it and restore your honor.
Yeah, I think I might even kind of just a stately little kneel down beside him and just kind of say, "You can trust us. We're here to help." Just trying to reassure him as much as possible.
Our monastery protected two great treasures. Two swords. The life-giving sword and the death-giving sword. They were hidden away. Powerful weapons with spirits that granted great power to the bearers, but compelled them as well. One of the assassins took the life-giving sword. And when he did, he became like a whirlwind. And where he had struggled before, perhaps against two of us, he suddenly was able to drive all of us who set upon him, able to drive us back. And the worst is the death-giving sword, which was in that chamber below where you found me. The assassins did not take it. It was already missing.
You discovered it missing when these people came upon you?
When I went and made my escape through the trap door, went below, I found the chamber empty. The sword holder, it had been taken from there.
I say, kind monk, I have found something nearby that may cause us to further understand the mysteries here. The identity of your assailants, I say, they're different from those who wear this. And I hold up the cloth of Matabe Katagane. And
he first sees the cloth and he goes, that is what the beggar was wearing. And then he'll notice the insignia and he's like, oh, that's insignia of my lord Matabe. I don't understand.
It could have been that the beggar was coerced, but a beggar should not wear cloth this fine. These garments seem to be more of that of the nobility.
I do not know. If you have water, I must drink it, and I'm exhausted.
I'll go get some water.
There's a well, so you'll be able to draw that up. Again, have to get that ash that has kind of fallen, been blown down, and get that off of the water, but you can bring that to him and wash his face clean and cool him off. And you know now, Go, that he's sort of reached the limit of his strength here, and he will have to rest now.
Yeah, so I'll say enough questions. My brother needs to rest now.
I think I wonder if I might kind of bring in my hubris here of stubborn and press a little bit, and I might say that there will be time to rest later, but we have a mystery to solve. This attack happened merely hours ago, and time is of the absolute essence. If these kamui, if these shintai, these spirits fall into the wrong hands, there could be disastrous effects. We need all the answers we can get. I'm sorry, but I must ask you to participate in a ritual with me. We need to learn as much as we can.
And he looks like he's on the edge of exhaustion. I will give you a hero point for pushing that forward. What's the reaction of the rest of you? Sure, please. As Akiyama gets aggressive.
That's enough. He needs to rest. What we need to find can wait a few moments.
I think that I stand up, I kind of had taken a knee by this guy, and I kind of like brush off my knee and make sure that any of the dust is off of there. And I kind of looking around with my brow furrowed. And at this point, this is becoming enough of a mystery that I think I'm kind of going into investigation mode at this point, just in the area. So I think this is very disturbing to me. The loss of life and the loss of the theft and seeming just very confusing situation here. So I think I probably actually go to some of the whatever I can pick out looks like the most interesting part of this burned down monastery, and I think I start picking through stuff, even if it's a little bit dangerous. I'm looking for more information if I can find it at all. And I think at this point my desire for knowledge is kind of overpowering my sense of self-preservation, so I might be going into slightly more dangerous areas than I should right now.
So how about this? I will give you something that you will find, but you end up probably singeing and dirtying your clothing, and I'll give you a hero point. Does that sound reasonable?
Oh man, I'm not gonna like it, but I'll take it.
And that smell will stay.
Oh no!
Having had a house fire, that smell doesn't come out.
Yeah.
So you will get that in you. But you will find in a corner of this place, again, this where this life-giving sword must have been held, the chamber for that. And you can see it has there was a black sword stand down below. There's a white one here for that. And you can see a tapestry that this seems to have been like a secret room. And it will show the two swords. It's burnt at the edges, singed, but you can kind of make out that these two swords they clearly are opposed. Like the sense you get from this, they hate each other.
Okay.
But you will also see the seal of Matatabe. And like perhaps the Matatabe clan put these swords into the holding and protection of the monks here.
Okay.
Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess at this point, so then I may be assuming that, obviously different groups have these swords, and I'm getting concerned that this could become a clash that could endanger a lot of lives, and between them if they're drawn to each other in that kind of a conflict type manner. Is that what I'm kind of getting from that? Okay.
Yes, you're a little nervous about this power out in the world.
Yeah.
Yamazaki, you certainly found a trail that these soldiers went on. So what do you guys want to do?
I mean, I would like to say, Ishikawa put up a protest at, the monk here, but I think I would say something like, you have been in many a battle, you know the value of urgency. I say Zen has the right of it. We must continue this investigation promptly. And the best way for me to do that right now is a communion. The embers have calmed themselves. The volatility has left them, and now is the best time to gain what information I can from the Kamui. I need this man to aid me in this ritual. For he was here at the scene of what happened, and he may strengthen the connection to the spirit. And what I want to do is I want to use mysticism to actually commune with the spirit now. Before it was kind of like an immediacy thing, like, where do I go? What can we do here? But now I want to kind of, as the embers are sort of slowly burning, I want to see if there's any last thing I can gather here that could, I know we have a direction here, but maybe something more spiritual that we can get, maybe about the weapons or something, or about their desire, about the spirits that inhabited them, something like that.
Okay. Assuming that Naoko and Ishikawa don't interrupt you to cease this.
Yeah, that's a big assumption, I think.
Yeah, I just felt like I had to make a big deal out of it to get the hero point.
That makes sense to me.
We can also move past it if we want.
Well, I think my hubris is hot-headed, so I would just fly off the handle at you probably for trying to do that. And I'd say, like, if you try to make this person talk now, they might like lose their voice forever, and I would probably like shove you at your chest, pushing you back.
You hear roar from the bear when you do that.
Yeah,
but I'm hot-headed.
Yeah. And Akiyama, you will see she has that look. I'm sorry, Naoko has that look in her eye that they get when they describe the burning of their own monastery.
Yeah, totally. I think like you shove me, and normally I'm very headstrong in this case, and I would put up a fight and I would stand up to you. But in this case, I think I sort of like it's a burning look, and maybe like the fire, you see the fire like burning behind me as I kind of like stare at you for a few moments, and then I just say, fine, tend to this man. I will conduct the ritual myself, as imprecise as it may be, but then we must leave and take him with us. We need to meet with the Lord, and he was here at this time. He can ride on Koinu if he must. I know he is weak. I understand that. I do not want to cause him harm.
I have to put their souls to rest.
Of course.
And I give you like oh geez, you're like a piece of shit.
Yeah, and I think I realized then that I've kind of overstepped a little bit in my kind of passion to figure this out, and my and I think I say, I apologize. In my haste, I was disrespectful. I was impure. I will go cleanse myself and commune with the spirit, see what I can gather, and we will give you time to put your fellows to rest. But we should make haste, please.
So you guys have a choice. He clearly, and I want to come back to Zan and Ishikawa, since we haven't heard from them for a bit. He wants to stay here. He's going to have to rest, and then it's going to take him some hours to get his fellows and from the rubble and lay them to rest and do the proper ceremonies for that. So the question is, does the group wish to stay to do that?
Would he?
I'm going to help dig holes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we wouldn't just leave him alone to dig holes himself when he can barely breathe and stuff.
We'll be digging some graves.
Okay. So you guys can take a hero point. Akiyama, if you wish to skip on the hero point in assisting, I will let you ask a question PBTA style here based on your doing of a ceremony. How does that sound?
Sounds cool. Yeah, I'll definitely take that.
Okay, so
where do I mark hero points? I'm not seeing it on the character.
Oh, it's on some people's sheets, I actually put space for it, and other people I didn't.
Oh, it's the bottom right.
You can just put it in that little. If you have a blank space, you can put it there.
Cool.
If you don't, I'm so sorry. So, Akiyama, let me get Zan and Ishikawa's description, and then I'm going to come back to you and have you ask your question. Zan, what are you doing in the meantime? Are you assisting with this, or?
Yeah, I think I'm doing a couple of things. I think I'm going to first I'm going to talk to Suzu, and I think my goal with Suzu is to be able to send them back to. So it was Horio. Was Horio that who sent them? I want to kind of get them to. I want to convince Suzu to go back to Horio to report what's happened here, and then to come back and report to us like what information. So I think I'm kind of like taking. I see that this is a very new magistrate, someone who's maybe not very experienced, and I think I'm using, just a bit of stateliness and kind of command to just try and convince the person, you need to go report this and then get back to us with what you can find out from Horio about what's happening. So I think I'm trying to use them to accomplish that, if that makes sense.
You've got decent convince.
Yeah.
You got two ranks in that, and you've something like loyalty makes sense.
Yes.
So I'm going to say it's not going to be. She clearly doesn't want to. She's clearly been sent here to do this, and is reluctant to do that. But you'll break through her reticence, and she will. She will say, "I will head to Castle Madanabe, and from there I may be able to get a horse, and I will travel to where the magistrate Hario is, and report to him, and then return."
Yeah, I think I'm trying to use them basically as an informant at this point. Like I want them to go, do their duty and inform them. I guess my question is, what is Suzu supposed to be doing here? Even now that this is happening, what are they even intending to do?
She needs to find out who did this and bring the criminals to justice.
Yeah, I think I assure her that we're on the case and that we'll take care of it. Just report back to us when she finds out more from higher ups.
Okay, and so she will gather her things together, and she will take off at a fast pace to head to the castle. Akiyama, let me have your question, and then I want to essentially move to see what Ishikawa is doing, kind of put a bow on that bit there.
Sure. So I think what this looks like, just really quick, is as kind of like the last flames are burning down, Akiyama's performing this kind of like slower now, like kind of like bounding, gentle dance, and the flames are kind of like leaping and sort of like communicating with her as she does this, and it goes on for a few minutes or even longer maybe as she speaks with this flame. And
probably the length of time it takes them to gather the bodies out and bury them.
Totally, yeah. And because this is a fire kamoi, and generally fire is associated with volatility and passion and desire, I think something that this kamoi might have a good grasp of is these people that came to this place to steal these weapons. What fuels the flame of their desire, basically? Like what I want to know about their intent, right? I want to know like what possessed them to come here and commit such an act.
So what drove these attackers?
Yeah, like I get that it would be like a vague answer, but I kind of like that it would be like a symbolic thing of the flame, like what, yeah.
You will get that the flame will burn and echo with the resonance of greed. Paid coin, hired men sent to do a task.
Yeah.
They were sent by someone more powerful with more influence to go and do this thing.
Right.
That seem fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's a very impure sort of action. And I think she, that fills her with a lot of resentment and anger when she finishes the ritual.
Ishikawa. The monk handles the bodies, and you and the others can dig the graves, and when you finish there, it's probably getting now towards maybe an hour or so towards dawn, and what kind of ritual does Ishikawa do? Is this a battlefield thing or a more classical trained sort of ceremony?
The ceremonies for monks are different than for samurai. This monk's requests are odd, so Ishikawa remains quiet and contemplative. He says his own words quietly as he helps to carry and lower each body by some hastily assembled ropes down into each of the individual graves. There's a pattern that the monk has with each of the graves. They're not in a row. Since there's some kind of fortune
Mandala.
of Kami with that line. As Ishikawa's old, he is quite sweaty. This was a great deal of physical effort, but he doesn't complain.
The monks are tended to. They are put away. Their spiritual passage has been ensured. This has been going on for hours. And of course the background is that smell of smoke and so on here. So when you have finished doing this, what do you wish to do?
Revenge.
So do you wish to wait for the magistrate Suzu to return, or do you wish to head out now with these bodies taken care of and follow the trail that you found?
I would push for taking action and following the trail. I wasn't too impressed with the magistrate before, and I think we have solid information, and we should follow up as quickly as we can. They could get far away or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Zan also agrees with that. I don't think waiting for Suzu here makes the most sense. I think catching up with Suzu at some point down the road, and I think we got to hit the trail while the trail's hot here.
All right. And you four will head out into the woods, following this trail, following it deeper. And not far along, you'll see it begins to turn and begins to clearly head in the direction of Matanabe Castle. And we'll take our 15-minute break, and then we will come back.
Wait, 15?
Sorry, 5 minutes. What am I saying?
Okay.
15. 15 is the end thing. Sorry.
That's
5.
all.
We're going
we're
to take a half an
chilling.
hour break here because that'll absolutely disrupt any kind of flow that we might have had.
Intermission.
Rich loves having his flow disrupted.
Get in a nap and everything between sessions.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, 5 minutes. Because
Cool.
Lowell's an idiot. Does he have it figured out, Fraser?
I haven't heard yet, so I don't know. It's been like, I don't know, 45 minutes or something. So hopefully not something super serious.
One time I had to replace the thermocoupler in my furnace, gas furnace. That was a day I was super scared of my own homemaking skills. So I did it, but not going to do that again.
Yeah. Leaking and not draining doesn't sound like a problem I would want to have to deal with. So
Yeah.
It's like two bad things at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it was, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the thing is, but I pay like for the price of Netflix, I pay for like a furnace company subscription.
Oh, that's very smart.
So they like do a test and on it every year, like a yearly test, and then if they come out, then it's free. But if they need a part, you also get like 25% off or something.
Mm-hmm.
What province are you in, Fraser?
Alberta.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in Ontario, and like it's been a little cold, but today was like pretty on the warm side for me at least. I don't know if it's, but I imagine it's a little colder out where you guys are, so I don't envy you.
It's -20 and it's snowing.
What? Dude, it was like 13 degrees today.
It was fine yesterday. Like I think it rained on Monday or something, but
yeah.
But we get weird weather here because we're by the mountains, right? So it'll be like super cold, and then we'll have a Chinook, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I heard we're supposed to get snow in the next few days too, so I guess it's passing over here.
Yep.
Keep it. I don't want it.
It can head east or west. I don't care. As long as it's gone.
So, Lo, I just wanted to clarify.
Sure.
Because that beggar came to the monastery, clothed in fabric marked with the insignia of Clan Matabe, right?
Yeah.
And what do they do?
They seem to. It's not clear. You're guessing based on what you put together that they were the ones that may have taken the death-giving sword,
right?
And certainly what this monk described it as, the abbot was clearly upset after that person came.
Right. So they had come and been sort of welcomed in as a beggar, and what maybe potentially during their stay they had like, I guess we don't know all this stuff.
Yeah, the monk here doesn't have enough information, but he will say the abbot must have known who it was if he let them in as he did.
And that abbot is dead?
Oh yeah.
Right. And that beggar came before, and there, he's not sure of any relation between the beggar and the attack. Is that correct?
No, that's correct.
Okay.
It's too bad that guy died.
Welcome to the world of modules. By the way, just so you know, we'll do roses and thorns at the end of session 2, just so that we can check in then. So you will make your way through the woods. You'll realize the path turns and heads towards Watanabe Castle, and you are moving along. When sort of the light, I mean, it's maybe just starting getting on dawn, Naoko, when you're kind of moving again with sort of your furious pace here with the others following along, when you will get that hackle on the back of your neck, you'll smell blood, and you will realize that there are people in the tree line, that there are attackers that have been waiting along the path. And as you and your comrades move forward, you're about to be set upon, you will realize. Looks like perhaps 8 soldiers, troops, not unlike the ones that attacked the monastery. And then you can see a 9th that looks like it might be some kind of leader type. So we're about to go into a combat sequence. The way this works is pretty much just the same way, except initiative is a countdown with raises. So whoever has the most raises goes, and then the next most, and so on. And that's how we do that. So I'm going to roll for the villains, because the GM has to roll. Sorry, Rich.
This game is a heathen.
Heresy.
So, Fraser, what are you going to use for your trait and approach? I'm sorry, trait and skill here. What do you think your combo is for this scene?
I'm going to do... It's not compassion. I don't really have like a blind fury trait. It's not peace. It's not joy. It's not respect. Maybe wisdom?
Sure. Tell me what it would be with wisdom.
Just because I'm like, I have prowess at battle, so I'm sizing them up and knowing who I should go for first.
Okay.
And like seeing where they're aiming, so I'm not there, stuff like that.
That sounds good to me. I like that description of that. So give yourself a bonus die for the flair, and a bonus die for the first time you're using that skill in this scene.
Okay. Or well, for skill, it'll probably be athletics or brawl. What I'm picturing is like I want to get up on my horse and balance perfectly, probably spending a hero point because that's what it's for. And then like do like the whole jump up so that I'm landing on some of these people to engage in hand-to-hand combat instead of from afar.
That definitely seems like brawl here for me.
Yeah.
Since your major intent is to punch the heck out of people.
Yes.
And then what about you, Zahn?
Yeah, so I think I initially noticed Naoko's kind of that bit of change in posture right as they realize that something's amiss and that someone's kind of ambushing us here, and I think that is my cue to like kind of get behind some shrubbery and trees and everything. But so I'm gonna use hide for my skill, and I'm gonna use respect for my trait. And the way I see this, respect has to do with a couple of things, but self-control and orderliness are one of them. So I'm not running away, but I see myself as like, all right, this is something, melding into the shadows is kind of what I do. So it's just kind of like an assumed, just quickly just, I guess, how do I want to describe it? I'm kind of very methodical and calm about making my way kind of to the flank of the people that are about to attack us, just kind of hiding in shadows as I go. And
hide is nice. One of the things you can do is you can obviously use it to, eliminate, damage. You can use it to interfere with people. You can use it to set up opportunities, that kind of thing. You can do all that kind of change the environment.
Cool. Nice.
What about you? God, I went away for 5 minutes and it feels like a half hour and I've forgotten everyone's name. Akiyama.
So, sorry, did we get a hold on how many attackers there might be?
Yes, there are, looks like a brute squad of 8 and a single potent villain.
And no real identifying information, right?
No.
Okay. Well, I think what I'd like to do, and sorry, Naoko charged off to engage in melee with, are they on both sides of us?
Yes. This looks like an ambush. They are going to attempt to deal damage to you, ambush style.
And Naoko ran off to the side with the main villain.
Naoko, which are you heading for, main villain or for the brute squad?
Sure, main villain.
Okay.
Okay, then I think what I would like to do is I'd like to send Koinu in to sort of charge down the squad and scatter them. And while she does that, I'd like to kind of like move off in a direction and use my throwing daggers to kind of pick a few of them off while they're distracted by this massive bear charging into their midst.
Okay, so that sounds like aim. And what's the trait you want to use with that?
I think in this case it's loyalty.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's kind of like both loyalty to the group and also to my companion. It's kind of like our relationship as we work together. And then so Deadeye, I get a bonus die for the aim risk, and then one for my bear, I think.
Let's see. Yes. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, bonus die. Great.
Okay. All right. And Yamazaki.
Ishikawa.
Sorry, Ishikawa. Why did I say Yamazaki? What the? There is no Yamazaki here. What the what?
That 30-minute break, it just threw you off, man.
I know. I should have taken that nap.
Ishikawa, this is a cowardly act. He's not at all pleased with his samurai. He does not draw the blade of his katana, but instead leaves it sheathed and draws it out from his belt. And he's just going to wade in among the brute squad and thwack them a bunch of times very roughly.
That still sounds like weaponry.
Yes.
So
And what's
do you go in alongside the bear?
Yeah, that seems about right.
Awesome.
And what's the trait?
Does peace feel like too much of a stretch? Because he is.
No, I like that. I like that the way you're describing it, the centering of yourself.
Good. Okay, cool. And go get first time he's used the skill in this scene. So here we go.
Okay. So everybody roll your stuff, and I'm going to come and get your raises. Akiyama, how many raises did you end up with?
5 raises, no leftover dice.
Okay. Ishikawa?
I don't really understand this. It says 2 raises, then 2 raises. That means it's supposed to be 4 raises? Why would it not? I don't understand that.
So what it's doing is because of your skill of 3, it's counting the 15s as 2. So you can just read it as those 4 raises.
Okay, 4 raises. Thank you.
Yeah. And Zahn, what about you?
Yeah, 4 raises, and it's like 1 left over.
Okay. I will, if you want, I will buy that off of you and give you a hero point.
Yes, please.
Okay. And that gives me 2 doom points to use on the bad guys. All right. So here's what happens. The first person to go is actually this leader type. And even as Naoko is heading over towards him, he leaps out to engage you, Ishikawa. And he will bring his blade across you in a slash and deal 4 wounds to you.
Nice. That's a lot of wounds.
You have your duelist abilities. If you want to look at those, you could activate one of those. I think a couple of those allow you to respond.
Yes. Ishitsu focus only happens in the next round. So, yes, it's weirdly. I don't.
So
Okay.
you could Next maneuver you perform by 1. So you have to focus, and it gives you a bonus on that. You can counter and prevent a number of wounds equal to your ranks in weaponry, and deal your attacker a number of wounds equal to your ranks in weaponry.
I think all of that is okay. That looked like it was all flowing from Jitsu focus, but maybe not. That's where I'm a little confused. I don't know if this all is keyed off of a Jitsu focus or if they're different parts of the school that.
No, a Jitsu focus is like you get to spend it and give a bonus. Essentially, you go on this round. I'm spending Jitsu focus to boost up my next thing by 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's doing.
Okay, so then I will. The next maneuver you perform. So I have to use the maneuver and then wait.
Here's what we do. Here's how it would work, Rich. You could do your focus as essentially you draw your blade out quickly. That means the counter that you would do goes up by 1. It would cost you 2 raises to do all this, but you would deal 4 wounds to him and you would take nothing.
Gotcha. Except I've chosen not to draw out the blade.
This is all in the fiction. That's how you. That was all the fiction for describing it. So you could certainly do that.
Okay. Then yes, I will choose to use a Jitsu focus for the next maneuver. Sacrifice a couple of raises and then deal damage and avoid damage. So
you'll go again on 2. What does that look like when he comes in and tries to do that, to strike at you before you can draw your blade?
It's the katana, of course, it can be used two-handed. So he, at an angle, the blade just slides along the lacquered wooden scabbard, and then he delivers what would have been a killing blow across the guy's stomach, and then another rap across the back of his neck that would have beheaded him.
Oh yeah, and it is a brutal blow. He staggers back from that. That is clearly not expecting that. He thought he was going to get the edge on you. So I'm going to come back to you on 2. Fraser, how many raises did you get for Naoko?
I have 4 and an extra die. That was 9. So close.
Oh, well, do you want to sell me that?
What does that mean?
I get a doom point to spend on my bad guys, and you get a hero point.
Devil's bargain.
Oh, but I have so many hero points.
Then you don't need it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I won't do that.
You won't? Okay.
No, I won't.
All right. So Akiyama on 5.
Yes.
So the Brute Squad, let me tell you here what you've got is some choices. The Brute Squad is going to, on their action on 4, they're going to essentially activate their ambush. Right now, you could spend a raise to interrupt that, essentially on 5, disrupting that before they get to do that.
So that would be like, I'm looking at like the sequence of an action sequence, and like that would kind of be, the action that I'm currently taking, and then I could spend raises on it to succeed at doing it, or I guess
you don't need to spend any raises. Essentially, when a Brute Squad goes to do something, all it takes is somebody to interrupt them, to destroy their opportunity, destroy their consequence. So that's essentially the fiction of that is your bear running the hell pell-mell into the middle of them.
Okay, yeah. And then I guess it would be a whole nother turn before I could like make an attack, sort of. Like how would...
Well, that's 5. We'll come back to you on 4. That's essentially one of your raises. Just takes 1 raise to do it.
Right. Okay. I was just under the impression that like when I declare my action, I say what like I want to do and then choose how many raises I want to spend on all the different effects I want to like incorporate into that single action.
Nope.
Okay.
It may be when I come to 4, you may do an action that you need to spend multiple raises on. and then you can do that. But for here, you just need to spend one.
Okay.
So your bear goes barreling to them. They're getting ready. They've got like throwing knives and stuff. They're going to throw, and suddenly there's a bear in the middle of them, and they don't know where it came from, and they will dive back away from that. So that's on 5. So on 4, since you disrupted that, the mooks will set up again to essentially they will spend their raises to set up another attack. Essentially, they get in position to try and deal damage onto you, actually, because you and the bear looks like the threat that they're going to do. The villain will, I think he's just going to do a slash on you, Rich. So he's just going to do 4 points to you.
Awesome. I will eat that. This sounds delightful.
Knock him back, and he brings it down, and that's his action on 4. Naoko on 4. What do you want to do?
So I want it to be like I'm on that horse, and for spending a hero point, it says to move across a thin beam, jump from one place to another, or otherwise perform a feat of perfect agility and balance. So what I want to do is I'm on this horse, we're racing towards them, and I get onto it, balancing on the horse, and then like as if the camera's looking down at us, I jump up towards the camera and up and like land amongst them with my heavy staff twirling and, you know, hitting them in the head and stuff, hopefully.
All right, so that's on 4. Now you have the ability to do combat maneuvers here.
Let's do it. All the combat maneuvers.
Okay, so that's a slash maneuver. You can do that on this. Costs you 1 raise, so this is on 4. You spend it. How many ranks do you have in Brawl?
Brawl 3.
3. So here's what happens. Describe to me how you take out 3 of the 8 mooks.
Sweet. Okay, so I land amongst them and they kind of like freak out a little bit. Are they in armor?
Yeah, they got a little bit of armor on.
Okay, so I think I'm like doing some like some sort of kung fu with my large staff, and how I knock them out is just by slamming it into their helmet, which slams into their head, and they just go down.
Okay,
and,
boom, boom.
Yeah, it's just one of those maneuvers where it's like going from my hand to like my other hand by my neck. This is why we need those battle cards and operators, guys.
I'm picturing the Korean guy from Soul Calibur and bringing the staff around and knock him upside the head.
Oh, Kulik, yeah.
Thank you. Oh, thanks. Oh, good. Deep cut there. So there are only 5 of those mooks who are left. And let's go to Zahn. Zahn, there are about 5 of these mooks left. And it looks like Ishikawa is locked up with the leader. What do you want to do?
Yeah, question. So I'm just looking at the mechanical thing of the opportunities here. I'm just wondering if my approach of hiding and being using what was it, respect, just for being kind of methodical and everything, has that opened up any opportunities that I'm seeing, since I'm not directly engaged yet not noticed?
Well, you tell me. We can tell me what opportunity you can get out of that.
Oh, geez. Do I notice anything that they had like set up for an ambush that I could turn back on them? I don't know if they had any like
like a trap?
Yeah, that kind of thing. I'm trying to figure out if they had anything like that prepped.
Tell me what the trap is. What's the trap that you find?
Yeah, I'm imagining maybe they had like some type of trip line ready to be pulled up, in front of us if we hadn't noticed them, as they were, as we were coming through, and possibly with the way that the bear kind of has driven these back, and then we've got Naoko kind of a whirlwind in amongst them. I imagine them kind of like backpedaling, and I'm able to kind of pull this rope taut right behind them as they're kind of backing over it and now kind of helpless on the ground for a moment.
Perfect. How many of your raises? You're at 4. How many raises do you want to spend to assist, and who do you want to assist?
Sure. So I think I could. So how does determining how many I want to spend, how does that work? I guess I'm unclear on that.
Oh, so what it'll be is we'll add that on to the effect of whoever you want to assist. So
okay. Can I assist multiple people in this if I spend multiple raises, like one on each kind of deal?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
Okay. So I imagine the two easiest to help at this point, since I'm working on the, kind of that grouping, would be both Naoko and Akiyama.
Okay.
So yeah, I can imagine that that's aiding them in their, fight against these guys. Bear's still in there, and obviously Naoko with their staff and everything.
Okay, so what it does is each one of them, when they go to take their action, we'll give them an extra raise for effect, and you'll go again on 2, because that was just 2 raises to do that.
Okay.
The last person to go on 4 is Akiyama.
Nice. So as Koinu and Naoko charge into the fray, I'm sort of kind of like running along the outskirts of the melee, and I have kind of like a belt full of knives of like I believe they're called kunai, kind of like these shaped knives with like loops on the end and stuff. And I pull out a few of them, and I do sort of this like twirling motion, and it's very graceful. And I let out kind of like a flurry of these blades. And maybe some of these guys, we see them start like tripping over the ropes, and the blades just like find their necks as they stumble off balance and stuff. So I'd like to make an aim risk.
So we've already done that. So how many of the raises that you've already generated? You've got 4. How many of those do you want to spend to do damage right now?
Okay. So I just want to check in. I have an ability called Fish in a Barrel. When you make an aim risk using a thrown weapon, spend a raise to reduce the strength of a brute squad by your ranks in the trait you used, which would be 3.
Okay. So spend 1, and yeah, they won't be doing any damage this round.
Okay. Oh, so that reduces their the damage that they would be doing. Yep. Okay, cool. So I'd like to spend 1 to kind of inflict wounds or whatever on them, and then 1 to use Fish in a Barrel to reduce their strength. Can I do that?
Yeah, you'll go again on 2, and because of the extra bonus, essentially you will they're scattered, so they're not going to be able to attack, and you will take out 2 of them.
Nice.
Okay, 1 for the bonus and 1 for the 1 for your own sort of flinging there. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay. Naoko, you go again on 3. The villain goes first. The villain is going to faint on you, Rich, setting you up to do a bigger strike on the next round.
Oh, I thought you just passed out, because I was thinking that was a good tactic.
He was swooning. He was swooning. Okay. Yeah. So he will do a feint, kind of gets that blade up. He's trying to set you up for another strike because he realizes he's in a very precarious and uncool position. Naoko, there are right now 3 of these mooks left, as well as the 1 villain.
I think you're muted if you're trying to talk.
Is it me?
Yeah, Naoko.
Oh, sorry. You like froze right when you were saying the names. I was like, da 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 da.
Sorry.
I want to do the same thing. I want to take out as many of these people as I can with 1 action.
Okay. So here's so right now you could spend one of your raises, take the bonus from Zahn's thing, and you could take out 2 of these guys, and you would go again on 2.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
How many did you say were left, Lowell?
3.
So could Fraser theoretically spend 2 raises and just take all 3 of them?
2 raises and finish off all of the mooks.
Oh, I'll do that.
Okay. So describe to me how. So you batter 3 of them down. Knives take out 2 of them with Zahn's assistance, and then it's these last ones. What does that look like?
There's 3 of them. I think what happens is they all charge at me in a row, and I twirl my stick, gaining momentum, and then I just loose it right at the person's chest, and it flies at the guy. He goes sprawling back, and then I'm right behind it, leaping with like a thunder kick, and I just like hit them all in a row, and they go sprawling everywhere.
Awesome. Boom, boom. They go flying. Crack. The sound of branches giving as they go flying back. Bodies hitting the ground. Ishikawa. This guy's getting ready to do that feint on you.
Okay. The Ijitsu focus can be performed once per round, so I won't be able to use that now, which means I'll need to use regular attacks. He's using a feint.
Yep.
Let's see, how many raises do I have left? I'll just go ahead and go for a slash attack, I think.
Okay. If you spend a slash, you will deal damage equal to your ranks and weaponry on him.
That's 3.
Okay.
Yeah, push past his feint with a series of quick strikes at his strongest arm. I see if he seems to be right-handed. That's where I will.
So it's a deep cut as you get in, and he's getting that feint up. He's coming back around, and the slice comes in, and he'll fall back, trying to hold on to his sword. But you'll see that his arm reflexively opens when that cut's on there, and he'll hold up his hand.
It's not a cut.
Oh, so it's probably that slash. So probably there's the sound. Have you ever heard when somebody hits person hard enough to sort of break bone?
Yeah.
It's that kind of slap cut there, like a boken coming down, and he'll fall back, and he puts up his hand like this.
Oh, well, I'll step back. Surrender. Call them all off.
Looks at the rest of you. There's just the sort of the groaning sounds of these mooks around. He's like, go. Perhaps don't kill me.
You've surrendered. Of course I won't. Tell them all to stop. You've lost.
And he will look at you, and he will say, "What should I do now? How do I bargain for my freedom on this?"
Who is your lord? Who set you to this task?
Looks around, sees the bear, the Zon emerging from the darkness, the pole arm master who looks furious, and he will say, I was sent here by Horio.
The head of the magistrates?
Yes, it's a good position if you wish power.
You were involved in the attack on the monastery for the sword.
Yes. I'd been working for Lord Kagane, and Horoi offered me money. He wished for those lands.
With my empathy, am I able to determine if I buy that? Is he shooting us straight here, or is he just passing the buck along to somebody else?
Leaving a good deal out.
Yeah. Okay.
Zon, what do you think?
I think I might take a moment and kind of like furrow my brow and think for a moment. And very quickly, I think I take a, like in kind of one motion, reach into my sleeve, throwing dagger out of there, and I think I throw it such that it like kind of just like clips his like just, you can kind of feel like it maybe just like nicks his neck, you know, this guy as I'm doing, and it kind of buries into the ground, like just barely, just enough to like scare the crap out of him. And then I start walking towards him with another one. I'm like, you need to tell us what you know now.
Look, I'm a killer for coin. I've been hired. I was hired by Horoi to kill Lord Minabe and make it look like his wife had arranged it. I have the fake letters, things like that in my pocket. It was a simple arrangement, and that went well. We were to take the sword from the monastery. But there was only one of them there.
And where did you take the one that you stole?
We gave it to Lord Horoi.
Okay.
We gave it to him at the castle, and then he sent us back to kill the magistrate that he had sent and anybody else like yourselves.
You said that he has like these falsified letters, you know, to try and pin it on on their wife. Is that the case? Okay. I need those. Yeah. Can I take those?
Yep, he'll hand those to you.
Perfect. All right.
I have coin.
For
I'm
what?
sure we can come to an arrangement.
What are you trying to
paid
arrange?
well in advance.
What is your name again?
Tamayori.
Tamayori. What are you trying to arrange for exactly? You surrendered.
Yes, I'm trying to arrange for you to let me go.
Be
We can come to
truthful.
an understanding. We're men of the world.
Be honest and truthful to us and tell us all that you know. It seems perhaps you know more.
I suspect that whoever took the death-giving sword, that they will be heading to the castle. Lord Horoi believed that it might have been Matanabe's bodyguard. That she may be going to try and kill off the wife, especially if she thinks that essentially the wife arranged for her husband to be killed.
I asked him if he personally killed any of the monks at the monastery.
He looks at you. I was just giving orders. No. Strategic mastermind, that kind of thing.
He's not even using the, you know, I was following orders. He's using the I was giving orders excuse here. Wow.
I think that we should let the monk decide his fate then. At the monastery. He could decide what to do with him.
The monk is not a noble nor a magistrate. It's not his place.
Yeah, aren't monks like pretty, wise and respected?
Yes.
And he said,
Yes.
yeah, you should give me over to the monks.
Okay. Well,
Perhaps now I will shave my head and retire to a monastery. That seems like a righteous course of action here.
With what we have learned today, it would not do to turn this man over to a magistrate. Corruption seeps through this land. Coin will not buy the purification of your soul, man. you shall have to repent for what you have done in order to cleanse your spirit.
Take him to Watanabe. We're headed there anyway.
Yeah.
He clearly is sorely interested in keeping his hide intact. And he will agree willingly to be bound, and he will not give you problems, especially once he realizes perhaps the blood that's in the air here.
Do you know, do we know what would probably be his punishment in this day and age?
Oh, he'll be killed. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Cool. That sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. We'll need his testimony in addition to, the documents that he had on him to be able to prove what happened once this is all over also. Yeah. If that's what we decide to do.
You guys can gather him up and head double time onto Watanabe Castle. And I think that's where we're going to stop for tonight. That's okay.
Yep.
We'll talk Roses and Thorns at the end of session 2, so we can talk about the system and the adventure setup and all that, and see what we get. I'm still getting used to it. It's perhaps not the best structured adventure, but we're gonna push on through here, and we get a little more open space, I hope, next time. So thank you guys for being tolerant and patient with me while we're getting that worked out.
Always a pleasure, Lowell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah.
And thanks for accommodating me having to dart away at any moment.
No, having had to stay in a couple of houses with the furnace off in deep winter, you have my full sympathy.
Yeah. Well, it's all fixed now. So.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Good. All right. Well, and if you have any questions about things or stuff you have concerns about, feel free to email me during the week, and I will see you guys next time.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thanks,
Nice
everybody.
playing with everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks,
Stop
guys.
the podcast.